Hi, we're back. We're left you making soup, and soup's all done. Here it is. We started off with just that mirepoix, and I ended up putting in chicken bouillon to go with it, and then we put in tomatoes, peas, beans. I put some beans in there, and so basically, it's chock full of stuff. It's good, a good hearty soup. So easy to make. And I just put in what we had left over or what I felt like putting in. And it's your world. It's up to you. Your soup. You create it any way you want. That's just the very, very basic of a Monday morning soup. After the weekend, wherever you got left over, make some mirepoix and then do what you want with it. So this, we're talking about, before I get on, we're talking about the broths. This is what I use. It sells it at Costco. They sell it in supermarkets. Better than bouillon. And like I said, chefs today all use them. I use them. Nobody really wants to make stocks much anymore. Want to deal with bones. You got to pay for bones. Used to have bones and butcher give them to you for free. Nobody butchers whole chickens, although I think you should. In any event, if you're not going to be able to make broth, then you should use some of these bases. Use them wisely. Pick out a good one. First ingredient is going to be the meat. And they're all going to have salt unless you buy the broth in the containers, which has no salt. We talked about salt. Salt is a necessity. We need it. But pick out a good one that doesn't have too much salt. And I said, I was taught never to salt a stock. The reason for that was we used to reduce stocks in the old days to a demi-glaze. If you made 5 gallons of stock, you would take it and say, I want to make something really rich. So I'd cut it by half, half. We'd reduce it down by half. And that was demi-glaze. Used a lot in French cooking. Then there's glace de viande, mean glazed meat, glaze of the meat. Glace de viande is where you take that demi-glaze, it's already halfway done, and bring it down like 10 times more to 1/10 of that. So you have 5 gallons of stock and you end up with maybe a quart of this very thick, gelatinous, strong. So if you salted that stock, you would have a mess. So that's why we didn't do it. Today you can salt it. Salt is necessary. McDonald's has made a whole big living on making something that was too salty. It's very, very salty. I tried once. I didn't like commercial ketchup. This is going back 45 more years. I said, I'm going to make my own ketchup. So I said, I'm going to use better stuff. I'm going to use real tomatoes, blah, blah, blah. And I tried, and no matter how I tried, I couldn't get it to come out. I said, it doesn't taste like it. And also I thought about it, and I said, what does ketchup taste like? You know the one thing it doesn't taste like? Tomatoes. But it's mostly tomatoes. Why doesn't it taste like tomatoes? Because there's so much salt, sugar, vinegar, and that's all you can taste. The first thing you get is salt. The second thing you get is sugar. Then you get vinegar. Ketchup doesn't taste like tomato at all. Tomato is just a vessel to put salt, sugar, and vinegar in. Anyway, not that I want you to oversalt anything. I know it's not the healthiest thing, but we do need it. So you want your soup to taste good. You want your bread to taste good. You want anything you make taste good, you're going to have to salt it. All right, so salt. This is, we didn't start mentioning, I started talking about the types of soup. And I got into consommes because it's fascinating. Well, this is considered a clear soup because you still have clear broth. Even though there's beans in there, and even though there's tomatoes in there, which thicken it up a little bit, it's still considered a clear soup. So any soup like this, with beef, chicken, fish, that has a clear broth is considered a clear soup. After that, you've got puree soups or thick soups. Sometimes they get confused. A pureed soup could be potato soup, could be tomato soup, could be any vegetable, broccoli soup. Doesn't have to be cream of. It could be anything that's pureed. You can be a mixed vegetable pureed. As long as it's pureed, that's going to be a pureed or a thick soup. But thick meaning it's not thickened with flour or anything. It's not got cream in it. And it may just have a garnish. Like I love one of my favorite soups. One of my 2 favorite soups is pureed lentil soup. It's called Bavarian lentil. You make your mirepoix, you make your lentils, you put a lot of bacon fat or some sort of a meat flavor in there, pork flavor, and you cook it and then you puree it so it's very smooth. And then you put in any kind of chopped German sausage. My favorite German sausage is hot dogs. It's a German sausage. So I put the hot dogs in it. But that's a pureed soup that's not thickened. If you do need to thicken it, the old Germans would, when they're making it, if it's not quite thick enough, they'd throw stale bread in. If you've never heard of using stale bread as a thickening agent, it works. All right, so you've got pureed or thick soups, which can be thick because of the product, the mashed potatoes or whatever that's in it. You can use leftover mashed potatoes and make a good soup out of that. You can make baked potato soup with leftover mashed potatoes and call it baked potato soup, even though it's not baked potatoes. Anyway, the imagination is endless what you want to make. So we've got clear soups, we've got thickened or thick soups or puree soups, not thickened. And then we also have cream soups, obviously anything with the addition of cream. And other than that, you have your chowders and your bisques. Technically, chowders are only supposed to be from mussels and crustaceans. Bisques are only supposed to be from crustaceans, shrimp, lobster. Now they got, everything bisque. You can have anything, blueberry bisque. I mean, there's no such thing, but that's fine. It's semantics at this point. So we have that, and other than that, the only thing you have would be cold soups, which I'm not going to get into because I've made them a lot. I work in country clubs where we always had one or two cold soups. We always had a vichyssoise, or we had a fruit soup. You know what? There's no call for it anymore, and it's not a big deal. If you want to look that up and you want to make it, look up. Recipes are great to look up to get ideas. I don't ever use them, never have used them, never wrote them down. I didn't use a recipe for this. I told you, things, you have to know the basics. I was taught in school, the mirepoix ratio is generally two onions to 1 carrot to 1 celery. But that doesn't matter. I'm not going to measure it. I'm not going to write it down and say, you need 2 cups of diced carrots. That's impossible. You're better off weighing them. You should throw away all your measuring cups, all your teaspoons, get a scale. I had the scale out there. Use a scale. If you want to know how many carrots to put in it, weigh it. If you want to know for the next time you make it, say, I love that soup. I put in 1 pound of carrots. Okay, you put in 1 pound of carrots. Can't measure carrots when they're chopped and be accurate. But then again, you want accuracy, you want consistency, go to McDonald's. You're consistently going to get the same thing. It's going to be very salty, and you're not going to like it when you're done. We went, my daughter and my granddaughters and my wife, for some silly reason, a couple weeks ago or a week ago, we were out, we said, let's stop and get lunch at McDonald's. Hadn't been there in years. And it was a mistake. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's horrible. It's horrible. Make everything yourself. Why go out? Today it's too expensive. So expensive. I still haven't been in the business for almost 40 years. Still, to me, over $10 for a meal is a lot. And I'm looking at these prices now, and a burger is $15 or more. And I'm going, it's a hamburger. I know it's an 8-ounce burger, but it's so expensive. Everything, pizza. We go out now for pizza. It's so expensive. It's so easy. Certainly going to do a regular show on pizza. It's my favorite, one of my favorite things to make. Anyway, I'm going on too long. That's it for now. Talk to you next time. Bye.